we had an off week in the UFC, but that doesn't stop us. We still had some former UFC legends in the ring. We had Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz in LA, Anaheim, Honda Center. Um, Crazy is kind of one of the biggest. I mean, it turned out, I think there was a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah. Great decision to move it off of the Islam Dustin date and move it onto a day when there was not a UFC card. Great decision to do
That was huge.
Yeah.
That was huge. Definitely. What do you think of the fight, and were you surprised?
I mean, honestly, they were in better shape than I thought they would be. I expected the first couple rounds to be good, but then I expected them to kind of slow down. Maybe Jorge more than Nate, because Nate's cardio is always pretty good. But I didn't expect them to look as good as they did. I was thoroughly entertained. Anytime Nate Diaz fights, it's just electric. And I think Suga being on the commentary made it a win for me no matter what. That was so elite hearing Suga on the mic. And the fights before the rest of the card was not bad. It was better than a normal boxing card, I feel like. We got to see one of Floyd's guys that was 18 years old that looked really good. And then we saw Anthony Pettis versus one of Nate's guys. I'm blanking on his name right now. Is it no? Fuck, that's bad. But Nate's guy actually beat Anthony Pettis in a unanimous decision, I believe. And then Nate beat Masvidal. I don't know if I scored it that way though. I personally probably thought Masvidal won. Nate was kind of walking him down more, but I felt like Masvidal was definitely landing the cleaner shots throughout the fight. Who did you have as the winner there?
Yeah, obviously we talked about before it. I had Masvidal method by decision. So obviously biasly, I was going for Jorge. I kind of watched it back today, and I still kind of had the same thing. Again, when it's that close and you have money on it, you're kind of naturally going to lean toward the bias. So I'm kind of the wrong person to ask. But as much as I take the bias out as possible, I think that Masvidal won it.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really that many times where Nate really clocked Masvidal. He was throwing a lot that was kind of half landing, but it seemed like Masvidal was kind of blocking most of the shots. And then when Masvidal landed, it was pretty clean, but Nate's chin is just so good. He doesn't really show any reaction or move back at all when he gets hit. It kind of just doesn't really look like he gets hit, I feel like. As weird as that sounds. I would not have been mad with a draw there, to be honest. It was really close.
Yeah.
Nate's call out after was pretty funny. He said,
so it's 1-1 now.
Yeah. I feel like a trilogy would be good. And I would guess they would do it in boxing, but people would be happy with MMA or boxing, definitely. Did you hear Nate call out Jake Paul after? Or Leon?
Oh.
He said, I want to whoop Jake Paul's ass. I want to go win the UFC belt because I'm the best fighter in the world. Or something like that.
Hey, he had Leon wobbled.
Oh, that shit's so crazy.
A lot of people forget he had Leon wobbled in the 5th.
I can't believe he survived to the 5th. Leon was putting it on Nate in that fight.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was a really good card, honestly, for what it was. I didn't have the highest expectations going in, but it definitely surpassed mine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you said, you know me, I'm not really a fan of the boxing. You're not really a boxer, but like I said, I was impressed and I liked it, and a lot of people were talking about it. So yeah, exceeded my expectations for sure.
And what was funny is that Shakur Stevenson was boxing on Top Rank at the same time Nate Diaz and Masvidal were, and nobody was talking about the Shakur fight. And he's probably a top 20 pound for pound boxer in the world. He had a lot of hype before this fight, but he's just such a boring fighter that people were pissed. And the only clips I saw weren't even.
Nate's box office, bro.
He really is. He moves the needle. When Dana said Nate wasn't a needle mover, that might be one of his worst aging quotes ever.
Yeah. I've seen some people on like Snapchat or Instagram saying like, I'm ready for the fight night. And I was like, there's not UFC tonight. And then I was like, bro, they're really like, it's like they're like people are getting together to watch like fight. That was cool.
Hell yeah, dude. Nate Diaz, bro. He does that. And he is just
Who do
hilarious.
you
I
like
would
next
love
for him?
it's tough, man. I mean, if he wants to go back to the UFC, I think him and Dustin is a fight that almost happened throughout the years and would be pretty sick to see. I do kind of think Dustin's on a higher level than Nate right now, where they both are. He's kind of been in the fire fighting those top guys, whereas Nate's kind of just been doing his thing. But I mean, if they want to make some money, I think that's pay-per-view headliner non-title fight worthy. If you
Nate
stack the
has to go
card.
back to the UFC, bro. Nick went back. Nate has to go back. Nick went back multiple times.
That's true. That's insane that Nick's fighting in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people saying he might pull out because he doesn't know that you can't smoke weed over there, but he has to know that.
He for sure doesn't know yet.
You don't think? I feel like they would have to have like his agent should tell him that before he signs that contract.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I don't know who I really. Yeah, I mean, if Nate does go back to the UFC, I would love to see Dustin, honestly, or Connor.
Just in general, not even like the UFC, just in general. Like, who do you want to see him fight, box? Like, what do you think? Like a person out there.
It's hard to think of another boxer besides Jake Paul. I don't really want to see that again because I kind of think it would go somewhat similar to their first fight. Maybe a Mike Perry.
Ooh.
Depending on how Mike Perry's fight with Jake Paul goes.
I like that. I could see Mike
Perry.
In
that similar circle.
Yeah. I like that. I like that one.
What about for Masvidal? First boxing appearance.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was close, but I think if he would have won that one convincingly, he for sure could have had a Jake Paul look.
Yeah, and they have history too. I remember they were beefing for a while back before Jake was really on anyone's radar in the boxing world.
Yeah. I don't know who I like for him. It's tough. It's you never really know because like this whole celebrity boxing thing, it just kind of comes out of nowhere. So it's like you see names like, oh, I didn't even think about him.
And it's hard for these guys because they're kind of in a class of their own. It's not like they're in that like world class boxing level, but they're definitely a lot better than the influencer boxers that you see on those like KSI cards or whatever.
What about Masvidal, Luke Rockhold?
Dude, that's crazy. Luke Rockhold was kind of coming into my mind too. He definitely did not mess with bare knuckle boxing. I want to say, dude, I feel like he was beating Mike Perry in that fight, but he just kind of stopped. He's like,
I'm done. I'm done.
I think one of his teeth just flew out, and he's like, "No, I'm too good looking to be doing."